Hello everyone. In the previous videos, we have already discussed about linear regression and polynomial regression and also multi-regression. And regression is one kind of problems within supervised learning, whereas there is some other kind of problems. Those are classification problems, and that we can solve with the help of machine learning model called as logistic regression. So before moving on to this particular logistic regression, let's try to understand some of the pre-processing techniques. So if you guys remember, let's say if you wanted to build some machine learning model, we have discussed few steps, right? And what is the first and foremost step? The first step is the data collection. And after collecting the data, so this particular data can be collected either by ourselves if you are not finding data on any of these websites like GitHub and Kaggle. If you are able to find the data, then it's fine. We can directly take that data and we can use. But either with the collected data or the data taken from some websites like GitHub or Kaggle, we'll be facing some of the problems. So we'll be seeing few problems and what are the things that we can do in order to resolve those problems that we'll be seeing. So the first problem that we are going to discuss is about missing values, the common problem that we'll be seeing in many of these datasets. Let's say our output is y. Y is the output variable, and let's say we are collecting data for this. So in order to predict this y, we thought the feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, and feature 4 are really important. Okay, so that's why you will collect feature 1 information, that is, let's say x11, and feature 2 information, that is x12, feature 3 information x13, and feature 4 information x14. And for these input values, my corresponding output is, let's say, y1. And similarly, x21, x22, x23, and x24. And corresponding output is y2, x31, x32. Let's say you are not able to find some value for this particular feature 3. Okay. Maybe that might be due to many reasons, but due to some reason, you're not able to find this corresponding feature 3 value and you left it blank. And then you have this particular feature 4 that you found, and corresponding output is y3. Like that, let's say we are having several data points, and in some data points, let's say f3 has some missing values and also f2 has some missing values, okay, some blank values. So in such case, what can we do? If we think of linear regression itself, let's take the example of linear regression itself. What will be our hypothesis? Our hypothesis will be something like this: y equal to theta naught plus theta 1 f1 plus theta 2 f2 plus theta 3 f3 plus theta 4 f4. As we are having four features, my corresponding hypothesis might look something like this, right? So in this hypothesis, let's say we are trying to find on this particular data point. So we have, let's say, optimal theta values, that is theta naught, theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4. And as the model is optimal model, what we'll do, we'll just take this data point and we'll place it over here. That is x31, and here x32, and here we don't have anything, and here we have x34. On placing all these values, we'll be getting the predicted output. So this will be my predicted output that I'll be getting on placing or on giving all these input values. But here, if you observe, here there is nothing. So we need to signify something to the model so that the model will understand and place something over here. So in order to do that, there can be several strategies that we might follow. So let's say you can simply fill it with zero. That can be one strategy. But is that a good strategy or not? That we need to think of it, because filling it zero is not at all a good strategy. We'll discuss what are all the strategies that we can use. So let's see what this feature can be. Let's say feature 3 is some feature like weight or some feature like height. So these kind of features, we can call it as continuous features. Okay. So what are continuous features? Continuous features, you can simply think of it as like some values which are in decimals also. So if you think, weight can be anything in between range of some 50 to 150, right? So this is one continuous values, like in between you can even write it in points as well, right? So that's why it is a continuous value. And similarly, height, if you think of, it is, let's say, to 5 to like 6.5. In this region, it can be anything, right? So this is also some kind of continuous value. So for such kind of continuous features, what can be some good strategy? Can you guys tell me? So let's say if for such continuous features, there is a missing value. So what we can fill it with these missing values? Can you guys think of any good like good alternative to fill these values instead of filling it with simple zero? So what we can do, we can simply take out the average, that is the mean. Okay. So this can be one of the strategy that we can follow. And similarly, either we can use median, so this can be some other strategy that we can follow, or simply even if you can fill it with zero, this can be some other strategy. But this is not at all a good strategy. So whenever you are having some continuous values, it is better to either fill it with mean or median. Okay. And similarly, there are some other kind of features. Let's say grade. Grade is one specific feature. In this grade, what can be the possible values? Let's say A, B, C, D are the only possible grades that like a student can get. So in this, only these values are possible. In such case, let's say this feature 3 is grade now. So let's say this is grade. Then these x13, x23, all these will be any one of these A, B, C, and D. And there is a missing value. In such case, what strategy can we follow? So we can't follow mean or median, right? If we fill it with mean or median, it's like averaging out on this. So that we can't do on these character values. So what we can do, we can do something like most frequent value. So that is nothing but mode. Okay. We can find out the most frequent value in the whole column, that is feature 3 column or the grade column, and we can take out and fill the missing values. So this can also be called as mode. So this is one of the good strategies that we can follow. Okay. Like that, we can deal it with several strategies. And what can be the possible strategies? The possible strategies can be like mean, median, and mode. Not only these, there can be several other strategies like min, max, and so on. Okay. So the most popular strategies are these two for continuous variables or continuous features. And what are continuous features? Something like height or weight. And mode can be a good strategy for a discrete feature. What are discrete features? Something like grade, where all the values we know before itself. Okay, in grade we know that A, B, C, D are the possible values. So such kind of features are called discrete features. So in such case, we can use this mode strategy. So this is the theory behind, or like this is the kind of pre-processing technique that we can do. So in the next video, we'll be seeing some of the pre-processing techniques. So now let's move on to the code for these missing values. So if we see over here, first what we are doing, we are importing this numpy and pandas, and we are reading something called as missing data.csv. This is just a sample data file that I have created. And in this data file, if I see, there are three columns. One is height and the other one is weight, and there is grade. So in height, if we see, like it is in centimeters, and we have 186, 182, 175, like that, several integers. And there are some missing values which are represented with NaN. Okay. So these two missing values I need to fill. And similarly, in weight also, there are some missing values. And similarly, in case of grade also, there are some missing values. And according to our discussion, like what are all the continuous features over here? Here, height is one continuous feature and weight is one continuous feature. And what can be the good strategy that we can follow? We can follow something strategy, something like mean or median. Okay. So now let's see how to fill these values with mean. And similarly, how like in case of discrete values, we discussed that we can use something like mode. So how to fill the most frequent value in this case. So let's see. So in order to do that, we can simply use something called as a simple imputer, that is from sklearn. So we can call that simple imputer function, and we can tell the missing values are represented with NaNs, and the strategy that we wanted to use is mean. Okay, and this I'm naming it as fill me. And similarly, I wanted to use most frequent strategy as well, right? So that's why I'm creating another simple imputer variable that same, but just I'm telling the strategy to be most frequent. And then what I'm doing, I'm just fitting the data. And while fitting, I'm only selecting, if you carefully observe, this means that I'm selecting all the rows and I'm only selecting 0 and 1 column, that is height and weight column. Okay. And after fitting on it, what it will do, it will try to observe this whole data and it will try to find the mean and uh, mean of these two columns. Okay. That it will try to do. And when we are trying to apply this transform, what it will do, it will directly put all those values and it will return that particular data frame or that particular numpy array of it, okay, with filled values. So what we are doing on transforming, it is giving us all the filled values and it is placing it in this 0 and 1 column again, that is height and weight column again. Now let's print the data frame. So if I check the data frame now these values that are missing over here, that is NaN and NaN, that is in the fifth row and the seventh row. If you observe, in the fifth row, it is 179, that is, this is the mean value. And similarly, in the seventh row, it is 179. So these are the mean values in the height column, and those were filled with these two values. Okay, like that, this simple computer will work. Okay, and similarly, let's observe weight as well. In weight, there is a missing value in column, sorry, there is a missing value in the row 1, and there is a missing value in row 5. So let's see row 1 and 5. In 1, it is filled with 59 point something, and similarly, in the 5, it is filled with the same value. So like that, we can simply use this simple imputer in order to fill these values. But if you observe, I only applied it on height and weight columns. Now let's see how to apply this grade on grade column. So we have already used fill mode simple imputer variable. So using that, we can simply do, here we are selecting the last column, that is grade column, and we are doing over here. First, we are applying this transform. After applying this transform, what we are getting, if we observe, it is filled with C. That is the most frequent in all of this. C is getting repeated 3 times, whereas others are repeating 2 or lesser number of times. So like this simple imputer will work. And whenever you wanted to fill the values, you can use one of these strategies that we have discussed. Okay. So that's it for this video, guys. And if you have any kind of doubt, you can comment down in the comment section. And thank you, everyone. Bye bye.